I'm going to want to put a little tutorial together here on some practical application, how you can use the program and how you can use the record keeping abilities and just kind of see it in action, if you will, and some of the rewards that you as the handicapper can see. So I'm going to do an example here for November 13th, 2016, race number 7 at Del Mar. I have my data file loaded, and I have my race selected, and I'm going to pull my race up. And when I do my handicapping work on the computer, the way I work it is I'll have my past performances here, and I will work with the program just kind of simultaneously here, going back and forth. So let's take a look here. The 7th at Del Mar, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf for fillies and mares, allowance conditions, non-winners of 1. The number 1 horse, 3-1 morning line. Last race pace line here, didn't get off to the greatest of a start, was caught wide while heavy betting favorite. If we look at the line 2 back, going over the same course and distance, same conditions, was second, even though I had a little bit of traffic trouble there at the end. So I would select this pace line. This horse is in good form, 6 lifetime starts, 4 of 6 in the money. Looks to be a contender. The 2 horse, Mrs. Norris, 3-year-old filly, 1 for 12 lifetime, no wins on the turf. Even though the last race, 4th, beaten by a length at 12-1, this isn't really a horse I would think would be a contender here. So we can leave it and rate it, or we can just have it X'd out and not rate it. I'll choose to not rate this horse. Dynamic Mrs. K for Kent DeSormo with a decent trainer here. Last race was 3rd, beaten by a half length at 18-1 after having a slow start. Race doesn't seem to be atypical for this runner, kind of coming from off the pace, and up close finishes here, 6, but still beaten less than 4 lengths. Maybe off the freshening, coming back to Del Mar, the horse may be a contender. I'm going to rate that last pace line because it just missed. It was just so close there, even though it had some traffic trouble. Slow start, I should say. For Lynn's Legacy, really don't have too much to say here. 2 for 11 lifetime, was a winner in May, and then won on a non-winners of 1 allowance. Then came back into a grade 1 race where it made a little bit of a middle move before just kind of fading out, and then got a little bit of class relief and didn't fire. I'm not really going to call this horse a contender. Crimson and Gold, last race, 23-1, 5th, beaten 3 lengths, pretty well in contact for the rest of the field. Broke his maiden over at Santa Anita. It hasn't really done too much since coming into allowance company. Again, I'm going to kind of call this horse a non-contender. The 6 Peach Cove, Flavian Prat for Richard Mandel. Mandel, well known for his international ship-ins. Sprinting at Del Mar, 4th, beating a length. And this is a race I really like, going down the downhill over these conditions where it really was in contact with the field for pretty much the whole way around, and gained three spots and 3 lengths, or 2.5 if you will, in the finish. I'm going to say that this last race would make this horse a contender. 6 starts, 3 of in the money. Horse looks like it could improve, and this, I'm interested to see what the program is going to tell me now, because this horse has never routed before, so we don't really know what we're going to be looking at for a pace line here. But again, the program is going to convert that race at 6.5 furlongs at Santa Anita to 1 mile and a 16 today at Del Mar. Untouchable U, last couple of races have been up front. So far we haven't seen really any other speed horse over here, so we're going to consider this horse a contender and say possible lone speed. Del Mar and 2nd race off a long layoff. Sentimental horse for me this race here. I hit a monster pick 4 because of this horse. maybe we can rate her a contender, but it's kind of hard to use that pace line coming off the layoff, and really wasn't fresh in the race before the layoff. So again, I'm going to kind of pass. Zippin' Bayou, another horse that just kind of seems like runs a solid race every time. Last race wasn't too far off the Untouchable U horse, so we'll use the Zippin' Bayou as the last race. Now, I try to limit my contender list to 5 per race, but you're not limited to that. If you wanted to rate every one of these horses' pace lines, you can. But these, I feel, are the 5 main contenders, and these are the ones I'm going to put through the program. So let's go calculate this race. And let's go retrieve it. And when we print it up, you'll be able to see now we have the pace breakdown. But before we do this, I'm also gonna pull up for a basis of comparison is the Del Mar model. So I'm gonna go to my models, Del Mar, routes, and turf for today. And since the meet is only 3 days old, I can't really break it down by distance like I would like to, but I'm gonna print this so you can see what the printout is. And I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna go to retrieve the profile. Again, we just opened up on Friday the 11th, route, turf, retrieve the data, and this is the 2 days that before today being the 13th we have so far. I'm going to print this out so you can see the breakdown. So what this tells me here in all the route races so far, field of 9, field of 11, field of 6, 8, 5, 10, 11, the winners seem to be coming from either the middle or the outside, and we've had 2 wire-to-wire winners here on the 11th and the 12th, going a mile on the 16th. But the majority of the horses are coming from off the pace. This is the median energy that is used. And you can kind of see where the breakdown is at. That, again, the majority of these winners at the first call are coming from 3 or more lengths off the pace. And the greatest majority of winners is coming from 3 to 5 lengths off the pace at the second call. The average energy distribution is at about, a target would be about 48.86%, and we're favoring sustained runners. My decision model here is telling me that we have winners that we don't really know what we're looking at over here. Now, the last 2 races have favored sustained, whereas the first 2 runners going long have favored an early pace ranking. But let's say over here that maybe this is the trend that we're coming up for the, from starting on Saturday the 12th, that we need to be looking at a horse who has a sustained late rating. As far as our early ability and our late ability ranks, well, the late numbers are far exceeding the early numbers. You can see the differential over here is favoring a late ranked runner, and then the total is in the 4 to 5 range with a rating of we want to maybe look for about 185. We'll call that the target. So let's look at our printout over here. Start rating the contenders. The 7 Untouchable U we said was going to be possibly lone speed in the race, fits on the energy profile. The 6 Peach Cove is going to be our stretch out horse here, and has a good early fraction, a superior middle fraction to our speed horse, and then a solid late fraction with a decent enough energy profile over here. The 1 horse, which we figured might be the post time favorite on the 3-to-1 morning line, looks to be in contention here. And the 3 horse here, Dynamic Mrs. K, with that 58 and 20 third fraction rating, suggests that this horse has a strong final fraction. And down here again, we'll see the breakdown that we have the potential lone speed with the favorite as a projected pace setter. That's not really looking too good for a lone speed horse. Our stretch out horse shouldn't be too far off of them, and then have a dynamic 102 late ability rating. And then the 3 horse has a superior late ability rating at 106 with a 28 and 1 final fraction adjusted for variance, surface, and distance. Interesting to note here on the pace breakdown, Peach Cove would match their early to sustained, while Shazara, who is likely to be the favorite, is favoring an early run. I'm going to pick this up in part 2, and we can continue our analysis of the race.